Welcome once again, Marky Marks, to another Mark Madness. We decided to try something different this time. We're going to go right before Raw goes live. So, as always, I am Blake Carter, and I'm joined by the one, the only, awesome Will Rawson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. There's my diamond cutter. Bang!
Which is kind of funny, since growing up you were more the WWF guy and I was more the WCD. I was more of the WCW guy.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, welcome once again to Mark Madness. Like I said, we're trying something different, so we're gonna start talking about NXT Takeover Rival, my friend. What did you think of this one?
It was still what we kind of expected. It was a great pay-per-view, really outdid the main roster pay-per-views. However, I don't think it was as good as their last one, but it was still a great pay-per-view by the NXT gang.
I agree. Though I think the best match of the night was the Divas, or the women's Fatal 4-Way.
Yes, we had a discussion about this on the last RAWCAST. We were wondering, all right, if she is going to lose it, who's it going to go to? And I have to give props to you. You said Sasha, and you were exactly right.
Well, I thought they wanted to go a little bit more heelish. She has a good enough character, and she's very talented. If they're going to build up Bayley like Girl Cena, like you said that she is, what a better opponent for her to go after.
Right. I was a fan. I was thinking if anyone's going to take it off of Flair's hands, it was going to be the Irish rocker, Becky Lynch. But she had some highlights in that match, but a lot of the match, they all did good. But I think, really, Bayley stepped up to the next level. She was showing a more aggressive side. So I think maybe they're going to keep pushing Bayley a little bit.
I think they will, and I think Sasha will sick Becky on Bayley every once in a while. But then again, I don't know, since their programs are so short and they're taped so close together until we get a takeover pay-per-view, that I'm not quite sure what we're going to see there. But it's full of exciting possibilities. Or you could have Flair continue to go for the gold. Though I think they're probably going to get ready to move her to main roster. And there was people in our group that were very, very nervous about the prospect of her moving up the main roster.
Right. I think she's ready. But unfortunately, I don't know if that leaves the women's division NXT with that much star power. I mean, they're putting a lot of pressure now onto the other ones, such as Sasha Banks and Bayley, to really carry it on, since they're losing another NXT diva.
Yeah, very, very possible. And I think she would be a great addition to the main roster, though, like I said last week, I worry what they'll do with her, because if you're not on Total Divas, you're basically scum.
Right. All the stories go to the divas, and I don't think she'll be put on the diva show, at least not yet. I can see her eventually being on that show a couple of seasons down the road, but not when she's first showing up. So who knows where she's going to be. If she makes that jump to the main roster, who knows where on that ladder she's going to really fall into.
Agreed. And though I do feel, even though he doesn't have as much pull as he does as NXT, I do feel that Triple H will protect her just because she is a Flair.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she'll be in good hands wherever she goes. She might have a tough road at first, but every newbie does on the main roster. But Triple H will definitely be a little advantage for her.
And before we move on to the next match, I didn't know until an article was published today by WWE that referee is Drake Younger of the indie scene.
Yeah, I didn't. You mentioned that earlier today, and I didn't even pay attention to it. I mean, I usually don't pay a whole lot of attention to the refs because, I know a couple of them, and I follow them on Twitter, and I really like watching them, but I never realized he was there reffing at NXT.
And you can just look at the scars on his head. Good grief.
Oh, yeah.
I commend him for trying to grow hair back because he was bald most of his career. But, oh gosh, it's going to be hard. I don't know. But everyone always calls him Mr. Smiley, Mr. Gracious. He might be the best referee they ever get.
Right.
And so I'm excited, and I would love to see him get a chance to do some main roster stuff. Dean Ambrose is a big supporter of Drake, so that'll be interesting. Okay, we'll move on to what most people are calling the match of the night, the Baylor versus Neville match.
Yeah, I mean, he came out in his little war paint again. It was that glorious long intro that takes 5 minutes, but it's still pretty cool. They made a big deal about it on the announce team. They're saying, he gets the advantage right when he comes out because he's putting the favor in his side because he's already intimidating those opponents with that entrance. I like the entrance, maybe a little too long, but I thought it was a good match. It was really good, and it might be Neville's goodbye match to NXT as well.
It very well could be, and I don't know if it was just Twitter I was following or if they actually said it at the announce table, but hashtag Prince of Demons was associated with him during the pay-per-view, and I know that was kind of an indie thing, but if they were to ride that into his character, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it would. I'm a huge fan of Balor's. Prince Devitt, whatever you want to call him. It was a great match. it was a great match. I think it might have been Neville's last pay-per-view with NXT. I think we'll be seeing him on the main roster pretty soon.
Okay, now here's where I have problems. A few people in our group were saying how it's kind of a negative thing when you get brought up to the main roster. All I see in Neville's future is the replacement for Justin Gabriel.
Hopefully not. I mean, because we had Evan Bourne as well. He's kind of a replacement for Evan Bourne, Justin Gabriel, one of the smaller, high-flying guys. Gets people excited, doing top rope moves. I think he has more of a chance, more success than those two. I think we'll see a title on him, not anytime soon, but maybe an Intercontinental title run. It'd be nice seeing him get into that card. I think that'll be a good fit with him. I don't think he'll be a replacement. I think it might take him a while to really earn that spot, but I think he'll earn it on the main roster.
I really hope so. He is incredibly talented. He is very hardworking. We'll just have to wait and see where he lands when it comes to the main roster. And speaking of Baylor, what do you think about his future opponent when it comes to Kevin Owens? Let's talk about this match.
This match was pretty much the John Cena, Brock Lesnar match we saw a few months ago, where it was just dominated by Kevin Owens. It was a slam after slam, big move after big move. We saw very, very little offense from Sami Zayn, and the doctor had to stop the match. They came out, they said no more, and they gave the title to Kevin Owens.
And
I don't know what happened to the champion. What's the champion's advantage? They kind of threw that out the door. Like usually the title will stay, or it's just a no contest kind of thing.
Well, they didn't quite clearly say it, but if they wanted to go this route, they could call it a TKO, like they used to in the '90s, before tap outs were really popular.
Right.
And I think that's what they're trying to do. But we've been conditioned so much, if the match is stopped, they get to keep the belt, rather than it's a TKO.
Right.
And that was...
We talked... Okay. Like we talked about this a little bit, like, well, what's going to happen? We thought there would be a good chance that Kevin Owens was going to win the belt. I didn't see it happening that way. But now we got a Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. He's the #1 contender for the title. But what's going to happen with Sami Zayn? Are they going to try to make this into a 3-way match at the next pay-per-view?
I don't think so. What I think they're going to do is say he's so injured, he needs concussion leave. It's going to be Kevin versus Baylor. Baylor's going to get demolished. Just completely demolished. And Sammy's going to come back with his rematch clause. That's what I think is going to happen.
And I would be fine with that. So I was wondering, because now I can see them doing that. I was wishing that somehow we would get a Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn 2, and then Sami Zayn would get that one. Then eventually they'll have winner takes all. Here's round 3, where Sami Zayn finally gets the title back then. But I can see Kevin Owens being just that monstrous champion no one can defeat for a few months. Hero Sami Zayn comes back from being injured for a long time, and then maybe he finally gets that big moment that really pushes him to one of the best NXT superstars ever.
It could be. And really how they're booking it is they're booking him as the underdog, kind of like what we've seen in Daniel Bryan, and they've made Kevin Owens into kind of a Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Which is a different dynamic. Not that they haven't made Kevin monstrous before, but good grief, they've never made him this way.
Mm-hmm.
But his interviews are fantastic even afterwards. I think it was just on the app and then later on YouTube. Renee's trying to talk to him, and he goes, wait a minute. If you're going to just talk to me about Sammy, I don't want to hear it. But if you're going to congratulate me and talk about the sacrifices I've made, then we can talk.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
He does great mic work. And that kind of brings up one of my next big things, because the overall the pay-per-view was really good. Real quickly though, we saw a couple of reports out today about a little feud going on between, which we always knew it existed, but the main roster of WWE versus the NXT roster. Main roster is tired of being outshone, both in-ring, with segments, backstage microphone work by the NXT roster, while the NXT roster is also, I guess, having fits about not being called up sooner, not getting those bigger paychecks as the big guys.
And I think that's fantastic because it's nice for them to finally have rivals again.
Mm-hmm.
And rivals they want to beat.
Yeah, it gives that main roster, if they're saying, oh, well, nobody pushes us anymore, we don't have WCW to compete with. Well, you have your own rookie product to compete with, and that should be what pushes them to go out there on Monday Night Raw, on your big pay-per-view events, even the throwaway one like we kind of have this week. Is it going to be a throwaway? Now they know they have to step it up again thanks to another great NXT pay-per-view.
Exactly, and they tried to create that with the brand separation of Raw and SmackDown, and that was fine. But I don't think they ever really felt any pressure. It was just storyline pressure. But this one, I think they feel like their jobs are at risk because the minor leagues are outshining them in every single way. Tag team, women's division, main event, mid-card.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to put some pressure on not just the wrestlers, not just the creative team, but I think Vince is going to start taking some notice.
Right.
And he likes competition a lot. So this will be great for Vince. Maybe not so great for Triple H, but he's definitely going to get an earful from his father-in-law / boss, and then plus his wife. So that's always something. And speaking of Triple H, we're going to combine talking about last week's Raw and into this week's Raw, since we're getting ready for the go-home edition before FastLane. Speaking of Triple H, what did you think of the Sting I Accept?
Well, apparently Sting took some production classes and knows how to put some computer graphics on the Titantron because, we saw what happened. Triple H was sitting in the ring goes black, we have an imposter Sting or whoever it was, sitting there in the ring, but then all of a sudden on the Titantron you just kind of see I Accept appear. It was kind of cool, but at the same time, I I wish Sting would have done something, even just a short fake imposter Sting in the rafters, just kind of pointing down at him and this shaking his head yes or something.
And instead of 3 imposter Stings, which they didn't show very well on the television, actually appearing in different parts of the arena before the one showed up in the ring, that was a little too much for me. He could have been in the one in the ring unless they didn't have him paid for it. I don't know, but I did like how they did the computer graphics with Triple H talking and then Sting's graphics appear on his face.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And that's something we haven't really seen before. So I thought that was cool. I think it's cool that they're building up Sting, but it's going to be what I think is going to happen. I mean, either Triple H is going to try to blow it off, or he's going to be upset because I'm the cerebral assassin. You don't get to play mind tricks with me. I play mind tricks with you.
Right. Like I said, I'm sure he's going to address it again tonight on Monday Night Raw. And, of course, they have the face-to-face confrontation coming up on Sunday's FastLane. I think he'll express a little bit of anger tonight with what happened last week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Also, a big thing that's going to be happening tonight is going to be John Cena versus Rusev.
You mean Old Man Cena? Old Man Cena.
Oh, yes. Old Man Cena.
We've started acknowledging John Cena as the old man on the roster now.
They've been hinting at that for the last few pay-per-views that he's been a part of, but they're really selling it now where you've been here too long. We're the rookies, and we're going to kick you in your gut and get you out of here. Right. It works for Rocky. It doesn't quite work for Cena. I mean Rocky Balboa, not our Rock.
Not the great one.
No, not the great one.
The last segment with Rusev and Cena was a little awkward. I mean, it kind of felt, I don't know. I'm not liking the writing for it so far, but that's what we usually typically get with John Cena, you know. He's going to be the Superman. He's got to be that Superman role. So he's got to get beat down and pushed, you know. Looks like it's impossible odds, and, you know, he's going to Cena up. Hustle, loyalty, and respect. I don't know.
For me, the only problem I didn't have a problem with Cena talking. I didn't have a problem with the beatdown. Rusev talked too much.
Yes, exactly.
Why the heck have we been building up little red skirt lady if we're going to let Ape Man talk for 15 minutes?
Right. Lana is a great mouthpiece. She really is. And Rusev they need to use her more for Rusev. Rusev is not that good on the microphone yet.
No, and English is still not his native language. I don't know. He talked too much. It seemed out of character, and it didn't seem like things he would actually say. It kind of sounded like stuff Miz would have said back in his I have the belt Cena ha days. But it didn't sound like Rusev, and that pulled me out. And that's my only negative. We'll see if they build on that any tonight. I'm really excited to see the American Dream, Steve Rhodes, baby. Really excited for this tonight. I know it's going to be pretty much a Jerry Springer segment where he's going to be like, why don't you love your brother? If you will, he's of your bone, of your flesh. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible.
Last time he was on Raw was when he was there helping his boys get their job back. You know, they came back and they earned their chance to be hired back, you know. And now he's coming back to basically help heal that family connection. So it's just, he's always that factor in this little love triangle of the Rhodes family, I guess. And we'll see. It'll be funny for maybe a couple seconds. You know, he'll do his typical Dusty Rhodes stuff, but then it'll get too serious for me, like Jerry Springer style.
It's gonna get awkward. It's gonna be awkward, and I'm gonna love every bit of it.
No, it's gonna be even more awkward this time, just because last time he was actually Cody Rhodes. Now he's Stardust. You know, it's already an awkward enough character. And how is the Stardust going to interact with his dad? Because he doesn't acknowledge Goldust as his brother. How is he going to acknowledge Dusty supposedly saying he's his dad?
He probably won't, because anytime Cody gets brought up, don't you ever say that name to me again. I mean, what? I don't know. It's going to be awkward, and it's going to be awkward because Dusty sticks to his guns, and he hates scripts. Last time there was a lot of heat when he went after Stephanie and Triple H and wouldn't let them finish their lines.
Right, I remember that.
It's going to be awkward, and I'm going to love every minute of it. I love Dusty Rhodes. I love Ric Flair. I love the NWA. I love WCW. So for me, this is going to be wonderful because it's going to be a train wreck, my friend. Now, tonight, do you think we're going to hear the gong? Are we going to hear the gong?
Oh, man, I mean, this is another big selling month for the network. It's free the last month before, WrestleMania. Get the network. It's free this month. We have a pay-per-view. We had an NXT pay-per-view. They really want to try pushing this network and get people to buy it right before FastLane. And we've seen the hints from Bray Wyatt over the last couple of weeks, calling out kind of an Undertaker. Seems like he hasn't said that yet, but we can get the hint. If it's going to happen, it needs to happen tonight. We need to have some kind of Undertaker vignette or something appear.
Well, see, this is where I think that's going to be really hard because they've given the mysterious, non-talking, powerful, mystical vignettes to Sting this year.
Yes. And that I thought about that earlier today. How are they going to have two somewhat similar characters doing kind of the same things that happen at the same time? They're building up this mysterious Sting character. Now we're going to get another lights go out kind of character. Is it the Undertaker or is it Sting? But if it's going to happen, it needs to happen either tonight. And if it doesn't happen tonight, I'll be disappointed. And if it doesn't happen at Fastlane, then it's not going to happen at all.
And I'm kind of thinking it's probably not. And I'm okay with that because Brock still has the belt. And to be honest, I don't think Bray is there yet. But I'm just a fan. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not creative. I'm not a promoter. I'm not a booker. But what they have presented Bray to me, I don't know what he's like backstage other than the interviews he gives on like the Steve Austin podcast. I don't know who he really is, but what they presented to me is not worthy of bringing back The Undertaker who lost his streak last year.
Right. That brings up another thing. I think Bray is ready personally, but if they're not putting him any kind of booking with Undertaker for WrestleMania, what are they going to do with him? Who is he going to go up against? I mean, with about a 1 month build-up,
We have that storyline. If Daniel gets to go against Brock, if it's a three-way, that's a possible storyline. And tonight, I think it's tonight, Sheamus comes back.
Yep, we saw the promo come on last week that the Celtic Warrior returns. They never said a date, but it did say Celtic Warrior's returning. Had a nice little Irish bagpipe, kind of a new tune, so maybe he comes out to a new theme. Maybe he's going to be that heel character that they've been rumoring he will be when he returns. I think he works better as a heel, so we'll see if he does return tonight, because that'll also make those network buys go up a little bit, possibly.
Do you think he comes out kind of face tonight, and then on Sunday at Fastlane, he kicks Daniel Bryan's chance of going to WrestleMania?
Oh man, I hope not, because that was the rumor of having Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus 3 happen. And if it is going to happen, I think that's the best way to set it up. He comes back, gets over with the crowd, then he ruins Daniel's chance on Fastlane against Roman Reigns, and then that'll set up that. I think if they do that, that's the way to do it.
That would be the only way I would book Sheamus, which would book the Daniel Bryan match, which would book the Sheamus match. Those are done. We still don't know what to do with Bray. We could see Cody and Dustin Rhodes, or Stardust and Goldust at WrestleMania this year. I would love to see that personally.
And we still have the return of Randy Orton in the looms. We're assuming it'll be Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, but we still have no idea when Orton's returning.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Seth, let's talk about this. I'm so excited. Who is the diva that he's apparently cheating his wife on?
Oh, I can't even remember. It's one down in developmental down in NXT. But apparently, she got upset with him and released some photos, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember how it went.
Okay. Here's how it went. She sent some awesome pictures. She thought to his direct message. She didn't. She tagged him in it on Twitter. It could have been a publicity stunt, says my girlfriend. But then Seth's fiance gets on Seth's Twitter, because of course she knows his password, and puts pictures of Seth's ding-a-ling-a-ling-along, which, we didn't see it, but we could only assume that some of the pubes are also dyed blonde on Twitter. In a PG era, will he get punished for that, or are they just going to ignore it?
I think they're ignoring it. Triple H already released a statement saying, it's private business. He's already apologized. They know it was just kind of an accident. Let it be. It's done and over with. He knows that, basically it shouldn't have happened, and he knows it won't happen again. Lesson learned.
Yeah, and I would love to see Randy. Now, I was thinking about the Rhodes brothers again. They're split. They're angry at each other. Isn't there another? Oh, Miz and Sandow that are going on that.
We got the Miz and Sandow thing happening.
Would you have two different split-up teams on Mania, or would you have it and ride one as the brother and one as the employee?
Oh, I don't know. Because, like I said, I like the storylines, but I don't know if they're wanting to combine them or what their plans are going to be.
Well, I mean, I'm not combining them, but, if I was to look at it, it's two different teams that split up, both having their personal grudge matches at WrestleMania. I guess they could ride on the family one harder on the roads, but it would almost feel like the same match.
Right. And that's what I mean. I don't know if they're going to want to do the same storyline with, as far as team splitting up, I think one is plenty. I don't think two should happen. So I don't know what they're going to do with both storylines being very similar.
Unless, of course, they do they put them in a tag team.
Yeah, kind of a mixed thing where Damien teams up with Goldust and the other two.
Yeah, and that could be what they do. And we still don't know what Diva match we're gonna have at WrestleMania.
Right, 'cause we're still waiting maybe a possible AJ Lee return. I don't think she'll be involved with that though. But FastLane, we got Nikki versus Paige this Sunday.
Oh, you got me excited. I heard it wrong. I thought you said Mickey as in Mickey James.
Oh, no.
Oh, I got so excited. She's back? No, I think she's back in TNA now, which I haven't been following because I don't have Destination America.
No, I have not followed it either since they've moved.
But that's okay. So, as always, let's end on something that makes us happy. We've talked about what we want to see on Raw tonight, or what we think we're going to see on Raw tonight. Let's shortly talk about who's going to be debuting on NXT this week.
Oh, you mean Mr. Hacker, right?
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of the promo vignettes, and it looks like Crow, his long-awaited arrival on NXT TV. He's been at some house shows, and he was originally supposed to be on TV a while back. Got injured, postponed his debut, but it looks like it's going to happen this week.
And I'm really excited about that, though he did cut his hair and it's back to what he used to kind of look like in the Indies.
Mm-hmm.
I think he looked better with the long hair, personally, the straightened long hair. But I don't know. Give or take, it'll work. He was in pictures of the NXT water park thing they did this week. I don't know if you saw those or not. It was really weird, but they were doing it for charity. But it looked different. Um, but so tonight, you think we're going to see Triple H talk about Sting? We're going to see the Authority do something pretty much in the same vein of Big Show versus Roman and everything again.
Yeah, we do have, like I said, last time on SmackDown, Big Show did punch Kane, so Big Show might be out of the Authority, turning face once again.
Oh my gosh. That guy flips more than a light switch.
So I think we might have a Kane versus Big Show match at WrestleMania. We gotta have our big giant match, you know.
I love the big wrestlers, I really do, but I don't want to see that again.
If it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it'll happen at FastLane just because we still don't have a big FastLane card built up. It needs to be really put all together tonight because right now we only have a couple matches confirmed.
That's true. That's true. So it'll be an interesting Raw. I don't think we're going to see Sting tonight, and as much as I want him, I don't think we're going to see Taker tonight.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. I said, you know, I think he should be done. If he is coming back, then it needs to be clear tonight that he is coming back for WrestleMania. But I'd be perfectly fine if he doesn't show up.
Perfectly fine. But it'll be exciting tonight. We'll be watching it. You can follow us along on Twitter or Facebook. We'll gladly talk to you about Raw tonight. We're excited to do that. That's why we kind of did it this time, so we can talk about what we want to see at Raw, and then we can watch it with you, and then maybe the 3 hours won't feel as long.
Yeah, it's been getting worse. I kind of like the 3-hour format, but at the same time, I think there's more cons to it than there are pros.
I only liked it when it was once every 3 months.
Exactly, like a whole 3-hour special.
That was cool. That was cool. It was exciting because you didn't know what they were going to do. Now it just feels like sometimes they're just looking for time or how many commercials for some kind of candy are we going to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or some other terrible Mattel toy. But it's all good.
Mattel toys that you can buy at Kmart.
Thank you. At Kmart. And I'm sure they have a WrestleMania giveaway once again.
Probably.
Oh, boy. Alrighty. So, Will, say your goodbyes.
This is my Macho Man impersonation saying, get funky like a monkey and watch Raw tonight. Yeah. Bye.
You're my favorite. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you later.